The envelope arrived at exactly 9:17 in the morning. No warning. No courtesy call. No soft attempt at reconciliation. Just a formal notice stamped with cold precision. Bai Lu had filed a cease and desist. And this time, it wasn't rumor. It wasn't vague shade on social media. It wasn't a cryptic post. It was legal language. Sharp. Unforgiving. Final. The document demanded one thing from Shen Yue. Silence. The accusation was explosive. Defamation. Specifically tied to a leaked private audio that had begun circulating quietly through fan forums before erupting into full public view. The audio allegedly captured a conversation hinting at manipulation, betrayal, and carefully staged public narratives. The internet had already chosen sides before the truth could breathe. But Bai Lu was done playing defense. According to insiders, she had tolerated months of speculation linking her name to hidden agendas and manufactured romance rumors. She had endured subtle implications that she interfered in past relationships. She had ignored the whispers suggesting she benefited from emotional chaos. But the leaked audio changed everything. Because in that recording, a voice resembling Shen Yue's allegedly implied that Bai Lu strategically positioned herself in Dylan Wang's life during a fragile period. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was reputation damage. And in an industry where image equals currency, that was unforgivable. The cease and desist letter reportedly outlined 3 core demands. Immediate retraction of any statements suggesting manipulation, removal of all references tied to the leaked audio, and a public clarification addressing false narratives. Failure to comply would escalate the matter legally. When the news broke, social media froze for a split second before detonating. Legal battle. Defamation. Cease and desist. Bai Lu versus Shen Yue. The rivalry had crossed a line no fan war ever had. Meanwhile, Dylan Wang found himself trapped in the center. Sources close to him claim he was blindsided. Not by the tension. Not by the rivalry. But by how far it had gone. Legal action meant permanence. It meant contracts being reviewed. Endorsements being questioned. Management teams entering crisis mode. Dylan reportedly tried to reach both sides privately. Neither conversation ended well. Bai Lu stood firm. She believed allowing the audio narrative to continue unchallenged would permanently stain her career. She viewed the legal notice as protection, not aggression. Shen Yue, on the other hand, allegedly felt cornered. She maintained that she never authorized any leak and denied intentionally defaming anyone. According to her team, the audio was edited and contextually distorted. But intent mattered less than impact. Brands began monitoring the situation closely. Collaborative projects quietly paused. Industry executives started whispering about risk management. Because when actresses at the peak of their influence enter legal confrontation, it sends a message beyond personal conflict. It signals instability. And instability threatens profit. Public reactions split violently. Some applauded Bai Lu for defending her name through official channels. They praised her for refusing to engage in online chaos and instead choosing structured legal action. Others accused her of escalating a private misunderstanding into a career-threatening war. And then there were those who blamed Shen Yue entirely, insisting the audio implied calculated intent. But the most uncomfortable question hovered over everyone. What did Dylan know? Because if the audio referenced strategic positioning during a vulnerable period, that meant his personal life was now evidence in a legal dispute. Insiders claimed Dylan's management urged him to remain neutral publicly. Any statement could be interpreted as alignment. Any silence could be interpreted as guilt. He reportedly canceled a joint brand appearance scheduled weeks prior, citing scheduling conflicts. Behind closed doors, tension reached its highest point yet. Lawyers exchanged communications. Publicists drafted contingency statements. Social media teams prepared crisis responses. And the once subtle rivalry transformed into a formal confrontation documented in legal paperwork. Then came the most shocking development: a counter-consideration. Shen Yue's legal team allegedly reviewed the cease and desist and contemplated responding not with compliance, but with evidence. Evidence suggesting the audio was selectively clipped from a broader conversation involving multiple parties. If that evidence surfaced, the situation would not calm. It would explode, because it would imply someone deliberately extracted and distributed a fragment to ignite conflict. Which raises another possibility. Was someone else orchestrating this chaos? As the days passed, neither actress issued a direct public statement, but both posted subtle signals. Bai Lu shared a caption about integrity and truth prevailing over noise. Shen Yue posted a line about standing firm in storms built by others. Dylan posted nothing. Silence became his strategy. Yet silence rarely protects anyone in battles like this. Industry insiders now fear long-term consequences. Joint casting opportunities could become politically complicated. Award show appearances might require careful seating arrangements. Even future drama collaborations could be influenced by this fracture. The cease and desist was not just a warning.
It was a boundary.
And once boundaries are drawn legally, crossing back becomes nearly impossible. The real question now is whether this legal threat will force reconciliation behind the scenes or ignite a full courtroom confrontation. Because if the case proceeds beyond private negotiation, private audio could become public record. And that would change everything. Careers, reputations, loyalties. The rivalry has evolved from emotional tension to legal warfare. And Dylan Wang remains in the crossfire, watching as two powerful narratives collide around him. If you thought the Midnight Beach confrontation was intense, this legal escalation might be the moment that permanently reshapes all three of their futures. But whispers are already circulating about a mysterious third recording that has not yet surfaced. And if that file ever sees daylight, this cease and desist may only be the beginning. It began with a response. 48 hours after Bai Lu's legal team served the cease and desist, Shen Yue's silence broke. Not emotionally, not dramatically, but strategically. Her team released a carefully worded statement denying any intentional defamation and claiming the leaked audio had been selectively edited to create a false narrative. They insisted she never authorized its release and had no involvement in distributing it. But then came the line that changed everything. They were prepared to defend her truth with evidence. Evidence. The word alone shifted the battlefield. Because if Shen Yue had proof the audio was manipulated, then the cease and desist would not silence the controversy. It would ignite discovery. And discovery in legal disputes means documents, messages, timelines, communications that were never meant to see daylight. Bai Lu's camp reportedly did not expect to push back this firm. They expected compliance. Instead, they received resistance. Behind closed doors, tension intensified. Lawyers scheduled private negotiations to avoid full litigation. Management teams scrambled to protect endorsement deals. Brand partners began quietly reviewing morality clauses. Dylan Wang, once again, found himself in the center. Insiders claim he was asked to provide a written account clarifying timelines referenced in the leaked audio. Not publicly, not for fans, but for internal legal review. Because if his name appeared within the context of the recording, his version of events could become critical. He hesitated. Any statement aligning with one side risked alienating the other. But neutrality was becoming impossible. Meanwhile, online speculation reached unprecedented levels. Fans dissected waveform patterns in the leaked audio. Amateur analysts compared background sounds, trying to determine if clips had been spliced together. Hashtags trended globally within hours. Some supported Bai Lu's decision to protect her reputation legally. Others rallied behind Shen Yue, arguing that legal threats can silence truth. And then a new twist surfaced. An anonymous industry insider hinted that the original conversation from which the audio was extracted involved more than two voices. If true, it meant someone deliberately removed context. Which raises a darker possibility. Was this rivalry manipulated by a third party? As negotiations continued privately, Bai Lu reportedly stood unwavering. She believed that even if the audio was edited, the implications damaged her image. Her position remained clear: retraction or escalation. Shen Yue's camp, however, prepared for the possibility of countersuit. If they could prove malicious editing designed to provoke conflict, they could claim reputational harm as well. The legal chessboard was now fully set. Then came the development no one expected. Dylan Wang requested a private meeting with both parties separately. Sources claim he told them he never wanted personal misunderstandings to evolve into legal warfare. He reportedly expressed frustration that his silence had been interpreted as indifference. But frustration did not undo paperwork. Because once legal notices are filed, emotions no longer drive outcomes. Documentation does. The real fracture became visible when industry-casting rumors emerged, suggesting upcoming projects were reconsidering joint appearances. Producers dislike uncertainty. Investors dislike controversy. And controversy was now legally documented. Shen Yue reportedly told Confidence she would not retract statements she did not make. Bai Lu reportedly told her team she would not tolerate ambiguity that harms her credibility. Two strong positions. Zero compromise. As days passed, the possibility of a courtroom confrontation became real. If the matter escalated, both sides could subpoena communications tied to the leaked audio. That would mean private messages, archived drafts, internal discussions. The risk was enormous. Not just for them, for everyone connected. And then came the final shock of Part 2. A tech analyst allegedly confirmed that the metadata from the leaked file showed signs of multiple edits before circulation. The origin remained unknown, but the manipulation was undeniable. That revelation changed public opinion almost instantly. Now the narrative was no longer simply Bai Lu versus Shen Yue. It became who engineered this. If neither authorized the leak, then someone benefited from their conflict. The rivalry may have been real, but the explosion could have been orchestrated. As legal teams reassess strategy, one possibility looms larger than ever. If they discover a deliberate third-party involvement, both actresses could shift from opponents to allies. And if that alliance happens, the true mastermind behind the scandal might be exposed. But until formal statements confirm the next move, the industry remains frozen. Bai Lu's cease and desist still stands. Shen Yue's defense remains active. Dylan Wang remains in the crossfire. And somewhere in the background, the person who leaked that edited audio may be watching everything unfold.